Hello, all. I hope you can hear me. My microphone looks, oh boy, like it's not doing right. I hope you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Can you check and see if you can hear me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it looks like my microphone is
Hang on.
not working and I turned everything else off. So I hope it's not going to be a problem.
Live.
Yeah, you have to
New York.
but make sure both of your headphones are in to see if you can hear me because it looks like it's turned all the way down. Can you hear me? Do I need to turn it up? Because I can't turn it up.
A little bit.
I can't turn it up.
Okay.
It's
Nope, you're good.
huh?
You're good. I can hear you.
Well, can you go? Sorry, you guys. I'm trying to do a test. Can you go in there without your headphones and see if you
No,
can
no,
hear
I'm
me?
hearing you in my headphones. Not.
I know you can hear me. I asked you. Can you please go in the other room without your headphones and see if it's coming through your phone without your headphones because I can't turn it up. It's weird. Usually I have to disconnect other things that might be using the microphone to try to get this to work. So I need you guys to tell me if you can hear me or if it's very, very low. Can you can hear me fine coming through your telephone? Okay. Okay. I don't want somebody to come on here and say I can't hear you because it looks like it's turned down very low on my machine and you're not just hearing me from the other room, right? You know what I mean? Okay, never mind. It's okay. Thanks.
I'm hearing you in my ears through my phone into my headphones.
No, I asked you to take your headphones out. I'm spending more time with you than I am with them, aren't I? Take your headphones out. Thank you. Okay, that's what I wanted to
You
know.
didn't believe me when I told you.
Thank you. Okay, so I hope that you guys got the message. Hi, Margaret. I am so sorry. You know what? I looked and I thought I think it's been a while since I've been on. Then I looked. I was like, oh my gosh. When I looked Wednesday and I saw it had been a month, I said, a month? A month already? I'm telling you, so much has gone on. Anyway, sorry about the setup in the beginning. My husband was just not getting it, what I was asking him to do. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me okay? I know he can hear me okay because he's in the same room with me. But I needed to know if you can hear me, just put yes down there. And hopefully, I'm not sounding really low. Margaret, can you do that for me? I'd appreciate that. Anyway, it's been very busy. There's been a lot going on. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad because you know what I found out with my computer, which is something that Dell nor Microsoft seem to be able to figure out. And that is if I had another program running in the background, let's say I had something else that uses a microphone. And I didn't sign out of it, right? I just exited or whatever, but I didn't actually log out. Then my computer is still connected to that microphone setting on that program. And I found that when I would try to do something on here or Skype or some other program, nobody could hear me. And I was trying to figure out why. I called Dell, I called Microsoft, I called everybody. Everybody was saying, oh, it's your operating system. You're going to need to just strip your whole computer down and put it back to factory settings. I'm like, no. So I just got to brainstorming because Lord knows I'm not techie. And I'm thinking there's got to be another way. So I just started thinking what other programs may be using my microphone. And when I start closing out of them, then it was fine. So there you go. Microsoft and Dell ought to hire me. But anyway, they should have paid me for that one. Anyhow, I hope you guys are doing okay. Make sure you put in the chat box where you're signaling from. I did send out a notification. I hope everybody got it because YouTubers are starting to leave YouTube because they are really messing with people's money. I don't do this as a job. I would starve to death. I mean, seriously, they don't pay me. So I don't do this as a job. And I feel sorry for people that maybe started their channel 10 years ago or 12 years ago and they've got their brand all, oh, hi. Okay, Tampa, Florida. I had family that used to live in Tampa. My sister used to be stationed at MacDill Air Force Base. I've been there once, but anyway, or twice. But anyway, um, and anyway, so people have started leaving because they're either suppressing their channels because they don't like their content. Not that they're saying things that aren't true, is that they're saying things that are true. And they don't want people to know that they're saying things that are true. So, or controversial. So I don't suspect that I'll be on here forever. But anyhow, people that have been working on their channels and building their brand and buying all this fancy equipment and doing all this stuff for the last 10, 15 years are suddenly finding out that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fancy your equipment is. It doesn't matter how much time you put into trying to bring good content to your subscribers. None of that matters. If they can just shut your channel down or mess with their income or make it difficult for them to make a living, it doesn't matter. So for a long time, people were reluctant to take their stuff over to a different social media outlet because they'd have to start all over again. But when they've put these people, and I say them because I'm not one of them, I'm not, contracted with YouTube to do nothing. I'm not buying no fancy equipment. I ain't doing any of that because I already knew that if they don't like your content, they suppress your channel. So I can't be bothered with that. And I wasn't going to go out and spend all this money and do all this stuff for them to not even let my channel be seen by anybody. If you go back about 4 or 5 videos, you will see where I did 2 videos that had like something like 2.5 thousand people that watched it. And then the very next video, it had been throttled back to like 200 and something people. That's what they do. That's what they do. And if people are trying to make a living on here, yeah, good luck with that because they really control. They don't care how hard you work. They don't care how much time you put into it. They don't care how much money you've spent on equipment. They don't care. They don't care. They're getting theirs. Okay. So they don't care what happens to you. So anyway, we all know what big tech is doing. They don't care. They get theirs. They don't care if you get yours. There you go. Anyway, so tonight, hi Key. So tonight, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and to really ask you, had you thought about this? There are massive, massive evictions going on across the country. Um, that moratorium on evictions expired last September, I think it was, or October, something like that. And I told you guys coming into this year, I said the first quarter, man, they're going to be kicking people out into the streets left and right. So that's what's happening right now, along with a whole bunch of other stuff. But one of the main things is these massive evictions that are going on, and it's really, it's like a big snowball that's going on, because you've got these store closings that are going on. Amazon is in trouble. The car industry is collapsing because people can't afford these cars. The last year or so, they had so price gouged everybody on the car, so people couldn't even afford to get a car. And if they absolutely had to get a car, then they had sticker shock. They had to pay money that was just ridiculous. The car wasn't even worth that, not even as a new car. And used cars were being priced at the rate that new cars were being, let me say it again. Used cars were being priced at the rate that new cars used to be priced at. And new cars were being priced at the rate of almost extreme luxury cars were being priced. It was ridiculous. So now the car industry is collapsing. And I can't think of the name of that car company, where it was like the cars were stored up in a tower, and you order this car and it, came in anyway. That was like the first one to collapse, to my knowledge. And then, so now you got people, they don't have transportation. They don't have extra money to take a Uber or a cab or whatever, right? And then, yes, Bed Bath and Beyond is closing. I mean, they've gone. I've got a list of different stores that have gone bankrupt. I mean, they're done. They are done, finished. And I don't know how long some of you guys been following me, but I said last year around November, December, I said the first quarter of next year is going to be brutal. I said they are going to be laying off people by the thousands. And that's what's happening, because these businesses are shutting down. They can't make it. They absolutely can't make it because people don't have money. And the weird thing is a lot of people are maxed out on their cards. See, once you max out your card, there's nowhere else to go. There is nowhere else to go. Either somebody has to give you money to pay off your debt, or you got to find some extraordinary work to try to start paying that stuff down. And what happens is a lot of people, they pay the minimum payment balance. And all you're paying is the interest. You're not getting rid of the debt. You're just paying them, but you're not dealing with the actual debt, right? And some people don't know that, especially young people don't know that. So they just pay the minimum. Say if the minimum is, if you've got $1,000 on your credit card and your limit, say, is $1,000, and your minimum payment is $10, do you have any idea how long you will be paying that? And mess around and don't pay the $10. By the time the due date, now you got a 26% interest rate tacked onto the $10 that you didn't pay, plus the late fee. You will never get out of debt. And that's exactly what they want. They don't want you to get out of debt. They want you to keep paying and paying and paying and paying forevermore. That's what they want you to do. So you've got all of these massive evictions going on right now. And so my first question to you is this, because I talked about this too last year and the year before. My question is this: what do you do when someone shows up at your house and says, I'm tapped out. I have nowhere to go. I have no more money to put into bills. I have nothing. And I worked for Bed Bath and Beyond and I just got laid off. And let me tell you how a lot of these people are getting laid off. They're getting laid off by email. I mean, it's brutal, folks. It is brutal. They're sending them emails telling them, we're filing for bankruptcy. You no longer have employment here. Thank you for your service, or whatever. I mean, that's it. That's it. You don't even get a pink slip. You don't even get to go into the office and HR, human resources, or your boss or whatever tells you your services are no longer needed here. No, they send you an email. I hope you check your email because if you're one of those people that got 52,000 emails in your inbox, it probably got lost in the sauce somewhere. So you show up at work and find out you ain't got a job. And not only do you not have a job, but the doors are locked. Nobody has a job. Management's gone. It's over. It's over. Margaret says, my daughter went to a car lot in the down payment won't bad. Now the payment is a lot. Who? You got to write that again, girl. I don't know. You talking in tongues. I don't know what that means. Anyway, yes, Carvana. That's what it was. Thanks, Bob. They're done. I'm telling you, this is a small nightmare. Okay, I've been around a while, and I have never seen anything like this. My generation hadn't. Now, maybe my mother, my grandmother, I was not born during the Great Depression, but I'm telling you, I've read enough. I've heard enough testimony from people that did interviews and they posted it up online that described what it was like going through the Great Depression. Meanwhile, you have the Oval Office telling you that this is the best economy ever. Who's it working for? Because it's not working for the middle class. It's not. Let me give you an example. I gave this example one time before because I think it's pretty good. And I heard it from a different guy on YouTube whose name is Kevin. That's all I know. Kevin with all capital letters. He gave an example of this, and I'm not quoting him exactly, but this is my understanding. Let's say you live in a high rise. You live in the penthouse, right? You done scraped and scuffled and went to school and got your degrees and started a business. You own a aerospace company. Elon Musk, whatever. I don't know who you are, but anyway, you living on the top floor. All of a sudden, here comes the weatherman talking about there's a storm a brewing. And it will probably knock down the dam and the water is going to flood the streets, right? What's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. Everybody that lives in the basement suite, everybody that lives on the first floor, everybody lives on the second floor are going to get wiped out. They're going to lose everything they have. Doesn't matter how hard they worked for it. Doesn't matter how expensive it was. Doesn't matter that it was high up on the shelf in their closet. They're going to lose everything they have. Okay. Then you got the people that might be on the 8th floor or the 9th floor. They look out the window and they see what is going on. And the water is still rising, but it's rising slow, but it's still rising. And it's like, oh my gosh, we need somebody to rescue us and get us out of here. Here's the problem. Nobody's coming. Nobody, you know why they're not coming? Because they have no way to get to you. There is no solution. They are not coming to help you. So the question for those people is, do you have some water? You got extra water? You got extra food? Were you laughing at the preppers? Okay, were you laughing at people that was storing food and all that? Now, granted, those people that were on the first floor, their pressure canned food, their frozen food, all that stuff is probably lost. Their canned food is okay, though, if they can catch it before it floats out the window. Everything they had in cans is okay, but the rest of that stuff, they got to let it go. Don't eat the bread, okay? So they might be able to salvage something. That's provided they make it. They don't go under, right? So here you are on the 8th floor, 9th floor, whatever, and you're thinking, well, I got a little bit of something in my pantry, and I hope somebody comes to get me. I hope somebody throws me a bone, throws me a lifeline. I hope somebody comes to help me out. Well, nobody's coming. Nobody's coming, right? So then the water keeps rising and rising and rising. Next thing you know, you're in the position that the people that were on the bottom floor were in not that long ago. So let's look at the people that are on the bottom floor as being service industry, right? Those that put your fries in your bag, and those that clean up the operating rooms after it's a bloody mess in there. You know, the service industry, the people that pump the gas for you and do things like that. These people are usually minimum wage workers. The water rising is inflation, let's just say, and it's wiping everything out, right? There's nothing left. All right. So then you got the people that's on the 14th or 15th floor. They see what's going on. The water hasn't reached them yet because they've got a little bit more income. They have more capital than everybody else. Let's just say they're upper middle class, right? They're upper middle class. They're not high class, but they're upper middle class. They're feeling the squeeze. They're looking at their stocks and their bonds and they're going, ooh, we better do something. We better sell some things or, you know. So they're able to salvage a little bit. They don't feel it like the people that were on in the basement suite or on the second floor or the fifth floor. They're not feeling it like that, right? And they don't necessarily have preps either, but they have assets. They have something that they could be able to sell later on to help them get back on their feet because they're upper middle class. They've managed their money and they've done all this kind of stuff, but they still see the water rising. Okay. And then you have those that live in the penthouse. They're looking at everybody else saying, wow, sucks to be them, you know? And the water's coming up and the water's coming up and it's doing some damage to the places where it's coming up. And you know what the people in the penthouse do? They call for their private helicopter and say, well, I guess I'm out of here. I'm flying off to whatever place until they get all that mess straightened out, until the water recedes. And I might just have to sell my penthouse, just have to sit on it for a while, but I'll go off to Belize or I'll go off to France or Italy or whatever in my private helicopter while I'm talking about global warming. And I'll go burn all this fuel while I'm talking about saving the planet. And sucks to be them. You get what I'm saying? Are you prepared for something like that? Because what I'm talking to you about is the state of our country and the world when it comes to economics. All right. I'm telling you, things suck right now. I mean, it's bad. It's very bad. And it's worse for some people. Now, God has blessed some people with some wisdom who was able to see this coming a long way back. Now, for those of you on here that's been following me, if you're not Christian, I get it. I ain't mad at you. Just hang on a minute. I want to give an example. There are two stories in the scriptures that come to my mind. There's nothing new under the sun. Anything that we're going through, someone else has kind of gone through it on some level. So there's two stories that come to mind from the scriptures. Number one was when God told Noah, build an ark. What is an ark? It is a place of refuge. Build a place of safety for your family. That's what he told them because it's getting ready to suck real bad. Right? It's getting ready to wipe out a whole lot of people, and you don't have to be one of them if you do what I tell you to do. Now, that's me paraphrasing this story. Okay. So, for those of you who may be Bible scholars, just bear with me. You know what I'm doing right now. That's one story. He told them, build the ark. Okay, so here you go. What's the first question? What's an ark? They didn't know what an ark was. So God gave them the blueprint. He told them, this is how you need to do it. This is what you need to do. Prepping. This is prepping. This is being prepared for what's to come, right? So he told Noah, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it, and do it exactly the way I tell you to do it. Now, did it make sense to Noah? No. Why? Because it had never rained on the earth before. What's rain? God said it's going to rain. Well, what's rain? Just build the ark. Okay, just trust me, build the ark. You're going to need it. Build the ark and take two of every kind of animal, every kind of living creature on the earth, put them on the ark too. Prepping. Why did he need the other animals? Why did he need all of that? You got to, because you're going to have to start over somewhere, and you don't want to have to start with zero. Okay? God did not want him to start from zero. So he told him to prepare, and he gave him the things that he needed, the instructions. He gave him the animals. He gave the animals that were going to be his food, were going to be his milk, his drink, that were going to help keep other animals alive, keep his family alive. Prepping. This is not a new deal, folks. Prepping is not a new thing. So I just get confused when I see people get their knickers all in a twist over that word as if it's some kind of a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy. If you got more than one cup of sugar in your house, you're prepared for the next thing you want to taste sweet. All right. So prepping is not some weird thing that people do wearing tinfoil hats and playing violins or whatever. Okay. What I don't know why I said that. But anyway, I'm just saying prepping is not a new thing. So that's story number one. Anybody familiar with that story? Not the way I said it, but you know what I mean. Anybody familiar with that story? Okay. Story number two. Here's Joseph, betrayed by his family, who should have loved him, but didn't. They betrayed him. They sold him out. Not only did they sell him out, they literally sold him, okay, into slavery because they were jealous, because his father loved him and he was kind of his father's favorite. I'm not saying that the father should have made it known that Joseph was his favorite, but he did. And it caused a rift in the family. You know how that can happen. So they sold him into slavery. Well, God elevated him, but not only did he elevate him and gave him favor with the king, but he also started speaking to him in dreams. He elevated him to a place of where he had the king's ear. And the king was having dreams, and Joseph was having the interpretation of the dreams. And he said, "What do these dreams mean?" He says, "Well, there's going to be 7 years of famine and 7 years of plenty." And he told him what he needed to do. God explained to him what he needed to do. And not only was he able to save his family, but he saved an entire nation because he did what God told him to do. Why? Because he put stuff aside like God told him to. Now, there might have been a whole lot of people saying, "You're going to store up 7 years worth of grain?" I bet you they was happy when they wasn't hungry. I bet you that. So I say that to you to say, what are you doing? You see what's happening. You see these massive layoffs. You may know people that have lost their job. If you don't keep living, you may learn of people that you know that have lost their job or about to lose their job. And they have been maxed out on their credit cards and all this kind of stuff. What are you going to do when they knock on your door? And they say, "I don't have nowhere to go. I don't have no money." And you've been talking to them about this stuff over and over and over again. And they were busy living the high life. They were going to get their nails done. They were getting their hair done. They were doing all this kind of stuff because they felt like they owed it to themselves. I know people like that. And I said, you know what? Whatever. When you get hungry, I hope chewing on your nails and sniffing that weed you got in your hair makes you feel mighty fine. All right. Because you're going to be hungry. I'm telling you. You better pick up an extra can of green beans or something. You better do something. So you hear people say things like, "I don't have the money to do it." I will guarantee you you got it somewhere. Now there is a very there is a demographic of people who would not have extra. But I'm saying if you can afford to go um, to get your nails done, to get your hair done, to go to the spa, to go to the gym, And I'm not saying don't watch your health. There's other ways to do it without paying. Okay. um, you can pick up extra food. I think what I'm trying to get across to you guys is this is not a joke. This is not a drill. This is happening. This is real time that these stores are closing and that people are being turned into the street real time in America and around the world. This is something that's going on everywhere. It's not just here, but you live here, right? You live here. So, desperate people do desperate things. And I don't even want to get into self protection. Okay. I'm saying that, and our borders are open, wide open, because of an open border policy. Do you know that there are other countries that have closed their borders because trade is so bad right now because of crop failures and things like that, which I'm going to try to get into here in a minute. But anyway, things are, look, folks, don't sit at your window and look outside and say, wow, that is really bad. That is really something. It is. But when you turn back around and you look at your kitchen, ask yourself, how prepared am I if, let's just say this, if things got so crazy, see, we don't know who's coming through our borders. Let me say it like this. Um, Mrs. Harris in the White House said that the border is secure, but she didn't say who it had been secured for. How can the border be secure if there's an open door policy? If everybody can come in and you don't have to be vetted, who was it secured for? I'll tell you, because fentanyl is flooding our streets. We got massive deaths going on because of not just the jab, but also the fentanyl and the drugs that are pouring in. We got children disappearing by the thousands because of human trafficking going on. I mean, this stuff, we got pedophiles running this country, okay? And I'm just going to put it to you like that. And for those of us who have lived long enough to know some of these people that are in politics, we have been alive for their entire political career. We know who these people are. We know what they've done. We know. And you know what they did? They capitalized on the ignorance of millennials, Gen Zers, Gen Xers, and that didn't know. That was all into their feelings and bought into every lie that they were told. And they voted for it. And the ones that didn't vote for it, well, who knows what happened to the ballots? Oh, that's right. They were in that ditch, weren't they? But anyway, I ain't even going to get into that. This is where we are. Okay? It makes a difference how you are viewing life right now. If you are not preparing yourself and your family, you are going to be in a world of hurt. Now, I will tell you, I ain't no Noah and I ain't no Joseph, but I ain't no fool either. God started talking to me 10 years ago. 10 years ago, when I was talking to my husband and I was talking to different family members, and people were looking at me like, and all I know was God wasn't speaking to me in dreams, but he was nudging me and saying, this is coming, that's coming, this is coming. And there was no signs of any of that coming on the horizon. Kind of like build an ark, it's gonna rain, right? What's rain? So when he's telling me this is coming, that's coming, I'm like, huh? But there's one thing about me. I might not understand it, but I know his voice and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what he tells me to do. And he knows I'm going to do what he tells me to do, even though I might be going, okay, because I don't get it. I don't understand, but I trust him. And I know he ain't going to lie to me. So I just did what he told me to do. And guess what? We are blessed because of it. We are blessed because of it. We are able to help take care of other people because we did what he told us to do. And it doesn't hurt us to do it. You understand what I'm saying? And I want you to be in that position where you can help people. Now, let me stop and read your comments because I'm just, Lord have mercy. Let's see. Margaret said we paid 800 on a car. Now, when you go by the lot, all cars are $1,000 and up. Yes. Hello there, Forbidden Tree. Welcome. I don't remember ever seeing you on here before. Hey, Amber. Oh, hi, Helen. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Audrey. I know it's been a while. I tell you, I didn't even know. I can't begin to tell you the things that's been going on. It's crazy. But anyway, so my purpose for coming on here, like I said, YouTube ain't paying me. Okay, I hardly know. Anyway, I care about people, and I'm gonna keep beating this drum. Now, you have a choice. You have to think about how you're going to govern your life because this government has committed treason against you. Okay, it's just that simple. They don't care about you. They care more about the planet than they care about you. All right. While they're being hypocrites telling you that they don't want you to have a gas stove. Oh, yeah, that happened. Okay. Eugene, Oregon. Check it out. Look it up. They don't want you to use a gas stove anymore. They're trying to do this eminent domain thing. That's where they can seize your property because they say they need it. Doesn't matter what they need it for. They just say, we need your property. There was an example of a lady. My husband was reading this to me the other day, and I can't remember what her name is. But anyhow, there was a lawsuit between her and this company because the government wanted her land. Her house was like something 400 and something $1,000. They ain't want to pay her 400 and something $1,000 for it. And she held out and held out and held out. And then they finally was trying to sue her in court for it. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? This is a home that I think was in her family that her parents left to her. Well, anyway, it was an original. It was like a heritage home or something. And they wanted it. They wanted her land for whatever reason. And this whole thing went to court. Can you believe the government will sue you to take your land? So this is part of the whole Green New Deal. It might sound like it's a good thing. It's not a good thing, folks. They do not want you. They do not believe in private property rights. They don't believe you have the right to own your home. And what they want to do is they want to tax people to the nines that own their homes. They want to make it so expensive to stay on your land till you finally have to give it up. And you will take whatever little penance they want to give you so that you can get off your land and they can do whatever they want to. They can start building a smart city or whatever it is where everything you need, they say, will be within 15 minutes of the little cubicle that they put you and your family in. That's going to be all electric. Here's the thing. We have cities right now that can't even deal with a bad storm without the electrical grid going down. So they're pushing for these electrical cars that you can't go very far in them. Maybe an hour and a half before you need to juice up or whatever. And the problem with that is there ain't a whole lot of places to juice up at. So when you get stuck on the highway, it just sucks to be you, doesn't it? So yeah. Who is this working for? Well, it ain't gonna work for you. I can tell you that right now. Anyway, let me give you some rundowns about some of the stuff that's going on. I'm gonna give you the names of some banks that their status has been downgraded to a very bad status because of a threat of them defaulting on money that they owe. Now, this is what you have to understand. The banks, when you put your money, and this is a whole nother subject. I'm not even going to get into it. Let me just say it to you like this. Get your money out of the banks, okay? When you put your money into the bank, it no longer belongs to you. You have become an investor. What you have done is you think that you're a depositor because that's what the paper says. But in the fine print, you're an investor. When you put your money into that establishment, you have given them the right to divvy it out to whoever they want to in loans, in stocks, in bonds, whatever they want to invest it in. That's why when you want to take out over a certain amount, they can tell you no. And you're like, well, it's my money. Well, not really. Not really. When you put it in there, it becomes theirs. And as long as you're under a certain amount, they may be willing to release some of that to you. But they are only required, I think it's to maintain 1% of what you put in there in physical assets in that establishment. So if you put $200,000 in there, the FDIC, who went broke a couple of weeks back, who is supposed to guarantee your deposits up to $250 per person, per account, right? They went broke bailing out two banks that failed just last month. They went broke doing that. So the Federal Reserve, who has nothing to do with the federal government, it is a private entity. Don't let the word federal fool you, because they have nothing to do with the federal government. They're not regulated by the federal government. As a matter of fact, the federal government is probably more regulated by them. That's where the money comes from. So they just print more money. Well, what happens when they print more money? It starts losing its value, because the more you have of something, the less valuable it is, right? Anyway, let me tell you. You're right. Amber said they don't even have people to work on the electric cars. That's the truth. Hey, JB. Okay, hold on. Let me catch up with these comments, you guys. The forbidden tree. I've been a silent supporter. Well, thank you. I'm usually listening to you while I'm massaging clients. I hope they listening too. Then you say something funny, and I have to stick one of the headphones in their ear. They can laugh too. Anyway, okay, here's the thing. I was going to tell you guys some banks. All right, now I don't know if you know any of these banks. It may not apply to you, but here it is. Comerica Inc., First Republic Bank, Intrust Financial Corporation, UMB. I can't remember what UMB is. UMB Financial Corp, Western Alliance Bank Corp, Zions Bank Corporation, Associated Bank Corporation, First Hawaiian Inc., Washington Federal Inc., and U.S. Bank. They've all been downgraded to not such good credit ratings because there's a concern about them defaulting and not being able to pay out or even get back in the money that they loaned out. All the money, your money that they loaned out, they can't get it back because people have lost their jobs and they're in the process of losing their jobs and their credit cards. But do you see? Are you getting the picture? Because it sucks. Okay, you getting the picture? Anyway. And these banks are primarily, they deal with commercial loans, right? Most of those banks deal with commercial property, businesses and apartment buildings, stuff like that. The next thing, anyway, get your money. Just right now, credit unions are somewhat safe, but I'm saying you've got to find tangible assets. If it's not in your hand, it is not yours. Okay. Now, what I was going to say a while ago was the FDIC, who is now broke, guaranteed that you would be paid up to $250,000 per account. They're supposed to be able to give you your money. Supposed to. They can't give you what they ain't got. Okay. I don't care what they promise. Anything after the $250,000 is not insured. They are not obligated to pay you that. So if you have more than $250,000 in any one account, anything above the $250,000, you can write it off as a loss. You ain't going to see that money again. Okay. That's why it's better to spread things out and try not to have all your eggs in one basket. Do I think every bank is going to fail? No, but you don't know which one will. So we spent the last 2 years removing our money out of the bank system and, you know, doing what we felt we needed to do with it. So, in order not to lose our shirt, because these people are crazy. So, the evictions, the job losses, the business closings, the car manufacturing business is all screwed up. All this stuff is going on. And do you know there are still people that will say, well, I don't believe in any of that. It's just way out there on the fringes. I don't believe it's just a conspiracy theory. I don't know how much concentration it takes to be that stupid, how much energy it takes to be that willfully ignorant when you can see what is going on and you still tell yourself it ain't going on. You are beyond reach at that point. Until you come to your senses, nobody can help you. But I'll tell you what can help you. Nobody can help you, but I tell you what can help you when you get hungry enough. When you go to the store and find out that your money ain't going as far as it used to, or when you get up one day and go to your computer and get an email telling you that you no longer have a job. All right? When it hits your doorstep, you'll get a clue. Okay? There are people like that. My mother used to say, some people just don't believe crap stinks until they smell it, you know. Well, whatever. It's about to get crappy where you live. Some of you. All right. Hi, Sharon. So, the next thing, now, you guys may have heard about this. I want to get back to the reality that this current administration, these people, they don't like you. Okay. They don't like you. They don't like me. They have no respect for the Constitution. They feel it's an outdated document. I remember Barack Obama said that. I believe it was his first term in office. I don't know if it was when he was campaigning or whatever. And he was going to fundamentally change America. Do you see that happening? Because if you think he's not involved in all this, you're wrong. You're wrong. He is. Okay. You got that whole little cabal going on behind the scenes because the guy that's currently occupying the Oval Office doesn't even know what day of the week it is. I'm sorry. The man is not cognitively there. He's a puppet. Um, they tell him what to do and he does it. And that's what he said. He said it out of his own mouth. I heard him say it. So he says, I don't know. They don't like me to talk. They don't want me to say anything. They don't want me to take any questions. Who is they? Who's they, Commander in Chief? Who's they? So that ought to let the American people know that the guy that you see, the puppet that you see in front of the screen, occupying the Oval Office, is not running the country. Okay? He is not running the country. And his wife needs to be in prison for elder abuse. I'm just saying, for letting them do what they're doing to her husband, who is not all there. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. Okay? But anyway, let me get back to this. This is how much they don't like you, the American people. The current administration has evacuated the diplomatic families from war-torn Sudan. This just happened the other day, leaving more than 16,000 American citizens stuck. This is the second time in 2 years they've done this. First time, you saw the pictures. You saw them on the tarmac. You saw Afghanistan take all of our equipment. You saw men of fighting age get on those planes going down the runway, and American citizens were left there to die. Okay? In Afghanistan. Now he's done it again, or they've done it again in Sudan. There's a hot war going on in Sudan, and they left over 16,000 American citizens in that country to die. And our borders are wide open. Do you think they care about you? They don't. The news media has suppressed so much news that if you don't go hunting and looking and scoping on alternative media outlets, you will never hear the truth. And this is why the last administration said that the media was the enemy of the people. That's why he said that, because they suppress the truth, because it's just like, and they tell you what they want to tell you. My husband said, it's like dealing with mushrooms. You feed them a bunch of crap and you keep them in the dark. There you go. 16,000 of our citizens, over 16,000, are stuck there. Now, let me tell you, to fend for themselves, figure it out, is what they told them. And when someone asks, a news reporter asks, is there any plan? Does the White House have any plan in place to evacuate American citizens that are stuck in Sudan? You know what he said? There are no plans to do any evacuations. Stunning. I know. Let me tell you who did have plans. The UK has evacuated their people. France, was it France or Italy? One of them was helping to evacuate our people and taking them to Egypt or somewhere. Spain evacuated their people. Several other nations, including China, are evacuating their citizens. And our government said, figure it out. Do you understand where you're living right now? You understand where you're living? I'm telling you. Yeah, it's more than an ocean. So, Amber says, yeah, it kind of makes you wonder what they have in store for us here. So, yeah, I ain't wondering. I've been trying to tell you guys, listen, you see food disappearing off the shelves. Let me just tell you this: rice, paper. Now, you think about everything that comes with paper, or that paper is made from or made with. There was a pulp mill, I think it was one of the last in the state up in Pennsylvania, that shut down for whatever reason. I don't know if there was a fire, something happened and it shut down. It was the last one, the pulp mill. So what happens? Well, they can't make paper. Well, what happens if they can't make paper? Well, you think about cereal boxes, school supplies, wood. Now, why is this a problem? Well, it's not a problem for the environmentalists who want to hug a tree. They don't care. They don't care that your food often comes in paper containers. Oatmeal, breakfast cereal, frozen vegetables come in paper cartons, may have wax on the outside, but paper containers. Chairs, tables, Amazon boxes. Wow, that's really going to suck for Amazon and UPS and all these other people that ship things in paper boxes. All right. Why is it? I tell you, it's really something. When you sit back and look at this and you think of the implications of that. One of the things that I mentioned to you guys last year, or it might have been in January, was that China and India had such severe weather that they had crop failure when it came to rice. And those two countries supply about 44% of the world's population with rice. 44% of the world's population uses rice as a staple. It's not like us where we might do mac and cheese or whatever. They do rice in India. They do rice in China. They do rice in Korea. They do rice in Japan. They do rice in these countries. That is their staple, right? Where in Ireland, it's potatoes or whatever. But these other countries, it is rice. So India has stopped shipment of rice going out of the country. Why? because they need to feed their own people. That's why they need to feed their own people. They already got problems with poverty. China isn't shipping because we have sanctions against China, which is stupid because when we put sanctions against China, telling them they can't do any trade, well, they ain't doing nothing with us. But what they decided to do was do it with our enemies, with people who don't like us. That's who China's doing business with. Okay. That's a whole nother issue. Oh my God. Anyway, there's going to be continued food shortages, folks. You need to do everything you can do for the long haul. I said before, I will say it again. If you study about the Great Depression, okay, it was not an event, it was a lifestyle for over 10 years. People had nothing. They had nothing. They had to learn how to make their own stuff. There weren't shipments coming in. There was nothing. There was nothing. Okay. And that's what concerns me about these younger generations now. They were born into the technological age that a lot of us were not born into. We had to learn what we know now, which ain't that much. They were born into it. When they got here, they started school. They were already, I found out 5 years ago they wasn't using blackboards anymore. I was like, what? What are they writing on? What do you mean they don't do cursive? How can you can't read historical documents if you don't know how to write cursive. You can't read it. You can't read it, right? So, yeah, yeah, fundamentally change America. But um, anyway, I have so much going on. I got stuff, as you can tell, going on in my head. And I can tell you, Amber, I can tell you, Helen, I can tell you, and Carolyn, I hope you're listening because I can tell you, Forbidden Tree, I can tell you guys, it ain't good what they got planned for us. It is not good. These people that are coming into our country are being shuffled off to different places. Now, you can call this a conspiracy theory if you want, but there's a thing called sleeper cells, okay? These people, not all of them, but these fighting age men, let me tell you, they're being taken off into these training camps and doing all this stuff, learning all these different techniques and self-defense and how to handle weapons and all this kind of stuff. For what reason? For what reason? When they weakened our military, our generals, our men, our generals, grown men, they're wearing dresses, nail polish, and getting their hair done. Okay? That's our generals. Our military is disgustingly and pathetically weak. It is a far cry from the military that I was a part of. I would not join this military today. You know why? They would get me killed. Or I'd have to, do something to somebody in a foxhole because I couldn't trust them. But anyway, this military today, let me tell you, they ain't got your back, okay? They ain't got your back. They too busy shaking in their boots somewhere in the corner because they have no mental stamina. They have no physical stamina because they're too busy trying to be pretty. All right? It's a shame and a disgrace, and we are a laughing stock around the world. Now, I understand how people can be annoyed with our country. We are not the cat's pajamas. We have committed war crimes in other countries, and I'm aware of that. I know that. And because we were a superpower, and I did say were because we're not now. We were a superpower. Nobody messed with us. That's why there was no war on our soil since the Civil War. There was no war because we were that bad. Okay. And they knew, don't mess with the United States. They knew it. They knew it. Now we have been left to rot. Okay. This administration has betrayed us. It's just that simple. You better take care of yourself and your family. You better get with other people that are of like mind and learn how to have an economy outside of this current one, because they're going to collapse this because they want a digital currency. That's a whole nother issue. A whole that's a whole nother thing that I'm not going to get into because I'll be on here for another hour and I don't like to keep you guys longer than an hour. But the central bank digital currency, they want to have it up and going in July. I don't know if they're going to make it, but there is this thing called Fed Now. Look it up. That's all I'm going to say. It's Fed Now, FEDNOW. Look it up. Look it up and you'll see what that's about. Okay? You think Zelle, think PayPal, what except a whole lot more intrusive. Okay? Fed Now, and they are going to launch that here in the next few weeks. Anyway, yeah, Amber says, I just saw the sign in the post office today, selective service. They can't get nobody to join. Ain't nobody picking up what they putting down. Ain't nobody trying to get into this military. No thanks. No. Anyway, look, you guys, now that I have ranted and raved for one solid hour, I'm glad you could hear me because it looks like my microphone's not working, but clearly it is. So thank God for that. But think about what I told you. If you have not started prepping, please do. And think long term. Long term. If I got stuck here, let's just say a hot war started on our soil, and don't tell me it ain't possible. Our borders are open. We don't know who's here. Okay? Let's just say you got stuck in your house, bad weather, power outage, whatever, and there was no, you couldn't get to the store because there was looting going on. It was dangerous to go out. So you had to stay home. How long could you be home before you ran out of stuff? I want you to start thinking like that, okay? Start thinking like that. How long could I be in my house without having to go outside and I could take care of my family? They could have what they needed. I could have what I needed without having to go outside. Your biggest concern would be keeping people from coming into your house to get what you had. How long could you survive without having to risk your life to go outside? Think about that. Pray about that. Ask God, what does He want you to do? Get with people of like mind and start brainstorming. Don't wait until the crap hits the fan, because let me tell you, there ain't no more fans for the crap to hit. Okay? All the fans are used up. So think about that. Pray about that. Be smart. Watch your money. Get your food. Talk to like-minded people. Check in with me if you need to. My email is in the description box. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for letting me rant for one solid hour. I appreciate it. And I'll see you the next time I come on. Take care and have a good evening.